What's going on, everyone? You're listening to 99 Yards here with your host, Audibot. And today we have a special guest on the show. Want to introduce yourself?
Oh, man. First, I want to say thank you for having me on your platform. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Stefan, a.k.a. Sneaky G-Man. What's
Yep.
going on, everybody? What is going on?
Yeah. So, again, thanks for coming on the podcast. And as y'all
Thanks for
see, if y'all
having
on
me.
YouTube, y'all see my background, right? Right there. And y'all think I'm a Giants fan. Y'all see his background? Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, in due time, yours is going to be better than mine. Watch.
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
my word, yours is going to be better than mine.
Hey, you've
Hold
been
on,
working on that for longer.
let me just show it off a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Even the portraits have Giants in it.
Oh yeah, and you know it's funny because I got these at Grapevine Mills.
Okay.
This one right here is myself and the wife, and then I'm going to pan over a little bit. This one over here is myself and Nick. The only thing I don't like is that the artist got me looking like Zeke. I'm like,
Yeah, he does.
this mother, what? I don't know what he got going on, and I had to pay $30 for it too to look like Zeke. But
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so again, if you're on YouTube, we'll get straight into it. If you're on Anchor or listening to it on Spotify, whatever, all that, there'll be a 30-second announcement here, as y'all know how we roll. But let's get into it. So, starting off, let's just talk about why you're a Giants fan. Because like me, you're not from New York, but you're a Giants fan.
Yeah, I'm originally from Sierra Vista, Arizona, 520 in the house, baby. And I've been a Giants fan since I was in elementary school, Bella Vista to be exact. Shout out. And I just grew up. To be honest, when I started following football, I was playing flag football with my elementary school, and I didn't have an identity. And I've always liked Lawrence Taylor, so I thought I was supposed to play defense. But then I came across a football card, and on that name said Phil Simms, and it showed him throwing a football, and I just gravitated. I don't know what it was, but a light switch went off, and I became a full-blown Phil Simms fan. And ever since then, I've been trying to wear the number 11 jersey myself.
Yeah.
And so I became a Giants fan at that moment. And I'll never forget the time when, I'm assuming this is, of course, before you were born. In 1990, the 49ers and the Giants were playing a game. They were both 10-1. And they were playing at that time, Candlestick Park. And my dad was on the phone with one of his friends. And he said, the 49ers are going to beat the Giants. He got off the phone, and I said, Dad, no, the Giants going to beat the 49ers. And he was like, you can't name 5 players off the 49ers. And I'm like, Dave Meggett, Carl Banks, Joe Bart, Joe Morris, Phil Simms. And I mean, he was like, is that your team? I'm like, yeah, that's my team. And it's been that way ever since.
Yeah, so it's funny because you were saying that and I watched that. I was like thinking about that. And that's kind of the reason the reason I became a Giants fan was because the first game I ever watched was the Giants Super Bowl versus the Patriots, 2011. And, and from there I was like, Giants, Giants again, because they kept on playing the Cowboys. I'm from Dallas. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this is the team, right? I didn't realize, so I kept on hearing about that. And then similarly to you, instead of Phil Simms, it was Eli Manning. And I heard you talk about it, and there's a mosquito right there. Yeah. And it's funny because you were talking about it in one of your TikToks. And again, if we didn't already mention, SneakyGMan has his own TikTok page. Go check him out, if we haven't mentioned that already. But I was watching your TikTok and I saw you were saying your son, you won't buy an Eli Manning jersey because of the time that you watched the Giants and you grew up watching Phil Simms. And it was just kind of funny because I was thinking about that's just, generation to generation just switches like that. So that's cool. So yeah. So let's get into this. Let's get cracking into this. So what was your favorite game the most memorable game? a little bit more about the Giants.
Okay, most memorable game. So I mean, of course, yeah, that mosquito is crazy. It must be on drugs or something.
I killed it already.
So the okay, so I mean, we could talk about the 2 Super Bowls, the helmet catch,
Mhm.
Mario Manningham catch, and even the NFC Championship games preceding that. In '07 with the Packers and 2011 with the 49ers. But honestly, what sticks out for me, my first game that I will never forget was the 1990 NFC Championship game. Because the experience I mentioned before, we had a rematch against them in Candlestick Park.
Yeah.
And that was the game that Leonard Marshall had the hit heard around the world.
Yeah.
As you know, Joe Montana was like Jesus's cousin back in the day. He could do no wrong. And for Marshall to, I mean, literally lay the wood and take him out the game, I could only imagine what that stadium was like. And then with Lawrence Taylor recovering that fumble from Roger Craig, and then kicking the field goal to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, for me, I think that, I mean, the Super Bowls are easy to say that's your favorite game. It's easy because it's a big game, big moment. Don't know when you're going to go back. But for me, I'll say it's the NFC Championship game. And if I had to pick another playoff game, it has to be the 2007 divisional playoff game when we beat the Dallas Cowboys at home, and when T.O. was crying, saying that's my quarterback.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I don't have a memorable game. I would say the Super Bowl, but again, that was my first ever game, so I can't really say that as I didn't really understand. And since then, the Giants, I'm not even gonna like lie about it. We have the greatest team to play. Like we've been having our struggles, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Right.
This mosquito is like crazy. I'm like, I killed it already, but no. Okay, but yeah. So yeah, but what is it like being a Giants fan in Dallas?
It's actually fun. It's real fun. Just to and I know it's just you and I here, and don't tell anybody else I said this. Actually, I want to say last year sometime was, I guess, when all this started happening for me. It was on our anniversary, June 26th. I walked into Grapevine Mills, and they have these stores that has the cowboy gear, the cowboy stores in the mall. And I just walked in, gave them a bunch of mess, had it on Instagram. And before I left, I gave that, let's go Giants chat. And I hit submit or I hit send, and it kind of took a life on its own. And I just kind of rolled with that. And I think it's funny because 2 types of people come up to me. Well, I'm sorry, 3 maybe. You have your Giants fans, though. There's a huge following out here of Giants fans, huge. And then you have the people that are like other teams, Steelers. I know some Eagle fans. I mean, there's a lot of fans out here in Dallas. And then of course you get the Dallas Cowboy fans where they'll say, I'll walk in a restaurant and they'll say, you can't come here with that on. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come in here with this on, And of course it's all fun and games. So it's fun. I like to be entertaining. And when I do get some kind of razzing from Cowboy fans, I just give it right back to them. And if there's a Cowboys fan that's under 25 years old that have never seen their team win a Super Bowl, I say, and then they have the nerve to say we got 5. I'm like, you haven't even seen them win.
There you go, back on those VHS tapes.
Yeah, you have no right. When your team won, Nintendo was, the first Nintendo. We could probably still play Atari.
Yeah.
when the Dallas Cowboys last
Yeah.
won a Super Bowl. And so I just kind of throw that out there as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean it's a point, and then the 8-8 record, like they always like Cowboys. Actually, if you look at the team, like I just don't like the franchise, but if you look at their team, they're actually a pretty decent team from a football standpoint, like players and everything, like but they just never put it together.
Right.
Like
I would I wouldn't even say they put together a good. I don't want to give them any false hope. They're going to be
yeah,
the greatest 8-8 team in
mhm,
NFL history.
yep, yep. That's
Um, you
they
know,
have been for a while now.
it's unfortunate that we lost last week, but I will say
I'm
that
not even upset about that game. I'm not even upset about that game,
I
to be
mean
honest. Like upset about the loss, but
right,
like
right.
I'm so excited to watch the next game just to see what Jason Garrett, Joe Judge have in store.
Right, right.
Because we saw them open up a whole like what was it like almost every Madden play in the whole playbook. Like
Right, right, right. Yeah, and they were competing. I mean, that's
yeah.
the thing that you want to see. Um, yes, the Giants are an 0 and 5, they're an 0 and 5 team now. But when I saw them
Hmm.
play last Saturday, or I'm sorry, last Sunday, they competed as though they weren't an 0 and
Hmm.
14. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow for us, it is a must win.
Yeah, that's
We need to win Sunday, and then we need to start putting these wins together.
yeah.
I mean, it's going
And
to be a
that
long road, but we got to get on.
that 0-5 record is very deceiving because if you 0-5 did not look good, but if you look at the teams that we played Pittsburgh, we only gave up what 17 points that game?
No,
Um
they scored a little more than 17. I can look it up real quick.
yeah, let me check that real quick.
I
They
can't.
scored. But we held them, and that defense, we should not have been putting up like that defense. What was it, 6 yards for
Oh,
Saquon? And I'm not
yeah,
surprised at all.
yeah. They got 26, 26,
26.
16.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. I'll say this. So week one, we competed, but
Hmm.
if it wasn't for Daniel Jones' interception
Oh
in the end
yeah,
zone, that was a
that was
killer.
unacceptable.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
killer.
that was what 13, 16 plays almost. That whole
Yeah,
drive. That
yeah.
was you took
I
off
mean,
way too many. Yeah, that was just too much time taken out for absolutely nothing to happen.
for no points, not even a
Yeah,
field goal.
yeah.
And we were still fighting in that Chicago game.
Hmm.
We were competing in that
Last
game.
play. That last play is all
Yeah.
it came down to.
And I don't know what we were smoking when we were playing against San Francisco.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, that JV team, I can't believe they beat us.
Yeah.
And we were one play away from the Rams. I mean,
Oh
if
yeah.
Cup caught that touchdown pass, what, 3 minutes left in the game?
Hmm.
And obviously, last week we were still one play away.
We
So
were,
we
yeah.
could honestly be 3-2 right now,
Hmm.
if we wanted to look at it.
Yeah, that our defense is probably the most underrated defense in the whole NFL. Like
I agree.
last week, like we have probably the most underrated players as well. James Bradbury, you don't see him make these flashy plays. We
Oh
saw
my
that
God.
interception against. We
Yeah.
saw that play against Allen Robinson. That was one of the best
Yeah.
interceptions I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
He took the ball out of his hands while he's going out of bounds. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
But you won't see him do that much because his thing is just hit the ball, don't let them catch it. I love that. Blake Martinez, probably one of the best players you can have leading that defense. He's a great tackler. He's in the pass game, but he's not he's mediocre in the pass game. He's not going to be getting these interceptions, but he's going to do his job, right? But he's a great leader. I love the fact that he's out there leading us. And if you've seen like the mic'd up and stuff, you'll see that he's talking to everyone. He's like, communicate.
Yeah.
So that defense, I just can't believe that we're doing this. Like we played LA, they're a pretty good team, right? Like they're not, and what is their record? They're like 3-1 this year,
I think they're
something like
three
that.
and one. I think
Yeah,
I
three
think
and two.
so.
Yeah. Um, so they're a pretty good team, and again, they were a team that was in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Of course, that was one of the worst Super Bowls we've seen. The boring Super Bowl, but that team's good. That defense is Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. So yeah. So
Yeah,
let's
I was trying to see what record the Rams were, but for some reason it's not showing me. But I do want to say that pick six that Martinez had last week, I mean, that was huge. That was a big play.
I think that was Fackrell, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yes.
That was
sorry. Yeah. I mean,
both of them
that was a
came in.
huge play.
Yeah, that was huge. And he did not give up on that play. He did not. He refused to go down. And see, now knowing what happened that game with first of all, Dak, what was it? You were in the stadium there, right? What was
Yes.
that
Yes.
moment like? What was that moment like? First of all.
Yeah, it was a surreal moment. When Logan made the tackle, it looked like a clean play from where, I mean, it happened right. First of all, it happened right in front of us when he broke his ankle. But when he got up, he lifted his leg up, and you just saw how how deformed it looked, and you could honestly drop a pin in that stadium. My son was, and Nick, who was sitting next to me, he said, what happened? And I said, oh, he broke his leg. Oh, he's done. He's done for the year. And there was a little commotion going on in front of us because where we were sitting, there was an empty row of seats in front of us. And then in front of that, there were about 4 or 5 Cowboy fans. And then an empty row. And then another seat, there was a gentleman who was a Giants fan. He was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. And then like a fight was about to get started because this was the whole time they were checking on Dak. They were putting him on the cart. And again, I don't know what was going on, but ultimately it kind of hushed down, kind of mulled over. But I mean, you could just feel the tension that injury caused and how the people felt about Dak with that injury. I swear to God, I don't want to swear to God, but when that injury happened, I mean, it was like a hush. And it was an awkward feeling. It was like on the other side of the field, it's like you can hear a baby cry. That's how quiet that stadium was. And when they put him on the cart and wheeled him out, of course, everybody gave him a standing ovation. And then when he put his hand up, everybody appreciated that as well. And at the end of the day, we all wish him well. We don't wish any ill will. And I hope he comes back. For me, and about Dak, I'll say this. For me, it's a shame that Jerry didn't give him his money because he's playing under a franchise tag. Granted, he's going to make more money than you and I combined in a year that hopefully we'll see in our lifetime. You'll probably be a rocket scientist or something. I'm just trying to be positive because I have no idea what you want to be when you grow up. But I just wish that he would have had a little more security. And the thing is that they were, it's easy to say that the Cowboys were gambling on Dak not getting injured or getting injured. However the case may be, he got injured. So how this whole thing's going to play out, I'm really curious.
Yeah, see, do you want to get into this right now? I was going to get into it later. You just want to get into it right now while we're on the topic?
Well, with Dak?
Yeah, with Dak. You just want to get into it right now?
Yeah, we can do it.
All right. So, I was just saying that franchise, like you were saying, Jerry Jones, I also think that Dak should have taken that because knowing the circumstances, I think what happened was we saw Pat Mahomes get that $500 million 10-year contract, right? And that also affected that because Dak's like, this guy's getting getting a lot of money. Just give me something I think what was he asking for, like $100 million, I think.
I know he turned down 30 million. And I think he wanted somewhere in the 40 million range, I think.
Yeah, because I think that he probably should have taken just because of the circumstances that you don't have preseason. And we've seen how that happened. Giants fan, Saquon Barkley, CMC, some big names, So we've seen what preseason is for, and all these fans who were saying preseason should not be a thing. It's boring to watch, but it's very important. It's something that has to be.
it's necessary. Oh yeah, very necessary.
Yeah, because we see what's happening now. Cut down practices, I just feel like he should have taken that contract and, because Jerry Jones to him, he was replaceable to Jerry Jones because that's the only reason they brought in Andy Dalton. He didn't see Dak as like a very necessary need to his team. He saw that he's a best option right now, but he's more than replaceable to us, because he brought in Dalton, Dalton's not a bad quarterback. He was on a bad team and got a bad rep, but Dalton is a starter in some teams. Like, there's a handful of teams that he could start in right now. So that's what I saw with it. What do you think about that?
You're right. You're right. And it's a funny thing. It's easy for us to say he should have took the money. He should have took the money that was on the table, worked out that contract. And I think the time too. I think the time was an issue. I think they wanted 5 years, but I think he wanted 4. I mean, there's a lot of back and forth, and there's a lot of variables, And for me, you're right. I agree with you. I think he should have taken the money because as a quarterback, you're paid to do one thing, and that's to win.
Yeah.
And it's not Dak's fault, but the Cowboys have not won anything since 96. They've won only 3 playoff games since then. One of those was Detroit, not to put a knock on Detroit. And they haven't even been to the NFC Championship game since 96. Yeah. And I mean, that's my thing. I think if, again, it's easy for us to be a Monday quarterback and say the shoulda, coulda, woulda, because now, he's getting his ankle, he had the surgery. Now he has to go through rehab and there's no sense of security. But, at the time he felt that he was worth X amount of dollars. Should he have went for it? I mean, yeah. I mean, who are we to tell him not to go for more money? I mean, honestly. But, and again, yeah, it's easy for us to say, man, you should have took that 30 million. But, because now he's in a situation, because technically Jerry Jones don't owe him anything.
I think he's paying him back actually. So
well, yeah, I think they're gonna work out a long-term deal. But I'm saying Jerry Jones, he doesn't have to do it.
Yeah.
He could easily say, after this year, we're going to go a different direction. Easy. Easy.
Yeah.
But, we'll see how this whole thing plays out.
Yeah. We just have to see like how he recovers. And we saw with him go down, then we saw another person who was in a very similar situation, Alex Smith, come back. So we just have to see how these people react. And there have been some bad instances. I think hoping for Dak he can get back to his form that he is right now. But it's just scary to see because we saw RG3 have that problem with whenever he got hurt once,
Yeah.
And it's just so now Jerry Jones can be like, well, you see, do we want to take a risk or do we just want to make someone else take the risk and we just play it safe,
Right. Like I said, Jerry Jones don't owe him anything.
Yeah.
And I think with RG3, it was poor team management with him because he was hurt. His knee was just messed up, and they still put him out there. I think that's a whole, in my opinion, I think that's just a whole different circumstance because they knew about the injury, but they still put him out there playing against people in a playoff game, which he shouldn't have been there, in my opinion.
The Redskins and Lions, I think, are two of the teams that just their management is not I think we saw that with Trent Williams as well. And for the Lions, they did that with Calvin Johnson. They also had some problems there. So so we'll just have to see how Dak rehabs, practices, and whenever he can get back on the field. So
right.
Yeah. So let's get back. So do you want to do a little week recap of week 5 just about the Giants real quick? So
let's do it.
So what do you want to see from this team going forward? It was quick.
Well, I mean, they competed. Excuse my language. They competed their asses off last week. And if it wasn't for the refs, calls. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 calls. I'll say there are 2 calls that shouldn't have been made. I didn't see a shift. I didn't see a pick play. But then there was like 3 calls that the ref should have, could have called, holding calls that could have, brought the ball back. So I think we're like on the cusp of winning a game. I honestly, and you could say I'm biased, or I'm saying it because I'm a fan. I see us winning tomorrow. I really do.
Yeah.
I see us competing, and I see us putting together a win. And moving forward, I'm hoping, we win Sunday, and I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to go too far in the future, but tomorrow is a must win.
Yeah.
And I expect a great game from Daniel Jones. I expect a great game from our receiving core, from Slayton, Tate, and I would not be shocked if Ingram went off tomorrow. I would not be shocked. And, Freeman, I like the pickup with Freeman to replace Saquon. He's doing his thing. And you know what? Our defense, I'm really excited of how our defense is playing this year compared to last year. And I think it's more so because of coaching. Well, I'll say it's 50-50, coaching, and now they have the right personnel on the field. So I'm excited. And I think the special team, we have an outstanding kicker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, what, he hit a 57 last week? 57-yarder?
He had 57, 50s, like 350, I think. He had like.
Yeah,
fantasy-wise, I think he had 20 points, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have picked him up. Shoot.
Yeah.
I might have would have won a couple games, but I'm excited for tomorrow. Again, we just gotta win. We gotta put one in the win column.
Yeah, I think tomorrow if we win, and let's just say Cowboys hypothetically lose that game. Hopefully they do.
Wait, who do they got? Who do they got?
They got oh wait, I just saw it. I think they have.
Because I picked them. I picked them to lose. I can't remember. Oh wait, what, is it Steelers?
Cardinals.
No.
Cardinals.
Oh, Cardinals. Yeah.
Yeah, they play on Monday.
I think they do. Yeah, I picked them.
Cardinals. They play on Monday. Yeah, that defense I don't think can stand a chance versus Kyler Murray and D-Hop. And to be honest, Christian Kirk is very underrated. He is a very underrated player. I feel like he's not getting respect. It's not just D-Hop on that team. Andy Isabella, of course, as well. So that defense, if they could hold up against a beat-up Giants team, they cannot hold up against Arizona at all. Because, so let's just say Dallas lose, and then Redskins they win, right? Let's just say if they do, they go to the top of the division at 2-3, and Cowboys.
Well, if we beat Washington, and Dallas loses, we'll still be 1 game out. So we have to win. Dallas has to lose, and Philly has to lose as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll be 1 game out.
Yeah, Philly, I think, would be at the top of the division because of the tie, right?
Right. Yeah, barely. Yeah, barely.
Yeah, and that's not gonna hold that much because it's if they lose a game and we win one, it's just that, And actually, no, wait. Then we just have to face them the next week, actually, because we face them week 7. So we just if we win, we just set us up for that
success.
This 0-5 team is still in it. That's the craziest part.
It is and that's why when people, even us fans, when we talk about tanking for Trevor, the fire Gettleman chance, I get it, I understand it, but the way this division is, we're 2 games out of first place.
Yeah,
just 2 games.
Yeah.
So if we can beat Washington and carry some of that momentum over on Thursday night, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, and
excuse me.
That Philly team, they lost to the Bengals, or they tied with the Bengals, actually, sorry. And they're not having the best of a year right now. They are not having a year that they want, you know. It's
And
not
they did win. I think they lost last week, but they did beat the 49ers
they did. They did. They beat but that
on
was a
Monday
beat
night.
up 49ers. That was a beat
Right.
up 49ers though.
Yeah. So I
They
think
would not have won that game if Jimmy G, all those players would have played.
right, right. So I mean, you know what? Hey, we're still in it. At the
Yeah,
end of the day, we're still in it.
yeah. But yeah, that is a 49 team that we also lost to be honest. But you know what? It's what it is, I
But
guess. I mean,
I believe the 49er team that we lost to, granted Jimmy G wasn't on there, was a different team that played against the Eagles, because
mhm,
they also took some injuries too in the
yeah.
Giants game, and then also in that Philly game, I want to say, or in
Mhm.
that Philly game.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, that Philly team's not the scariest. It's not what it used to be with, you know, it used to be the Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants. They were, you know, all fighting for the division. And now this whole NFC East is just like not like it's right now. Cowboys on top with a 1-4 record. Like that's
right, right.
it. Everyone's in it. No one's out of this division. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what do we?
they're only up by a half a game. That's it,
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
time. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the points are like very close. It's they no one's above 500, so we don't even have to worry about
Oh yeah.
that. Um, the highest is 400, and Philly's out of it by 300. We're at zero, but that's fine
Yeah, because
because
we're
that's
0 and
fine.
5. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on 5. Yeah, but Cowboys are two. Oh wait, Cowboys are 2-3. Never mind. So yeah, I've been thinking that they were 1-4. They were 2-3. So yeah, if they lose, we take 2 division wins. That should put us up. Yeah. So, what do you think we need to fix going into these next few weeks?
Offensive line.
Yeah, offensive line. That
But I mean, that's it. Offensive line.
Cameron Fleming. That I didn't. I celebrated. I just totally forgot to watch the flag, so I actually didn't see what happened. But it's that play just has to be a little bit find out. He was wide open, so Cameron Fleming.
Yeah.
I mean, just had to do his job. Don't like try and do anything excessive. Damon Ratley.
Are you talking about that shift play they were talking about?
Yeah.
He was. I don't know what the ref saw.
Mhm.
I really don't. To me, he looked like he
What
was
was
set.
it? What was the call? Like
It
as I
was
said, I was celebrating.
it was an illegal shift. That's what
Oh,
they called it. It was an
I thought they
illegal
called
shift.
holding. Okay.
No, 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 no. Were you at the game as well?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay,
I was
okay.
watching at home, and I just started celebrating, and then I come back. I'm like, we're redoing the field goal. Why are we?
Yeah, right, right.
We just
Yeah.
scored. That's not where the extra point is.
I saw, what I saw was fake field goal.
Hmm.
Ingram scoring a touchdown. I'm celebrating too.
Yeah.
And then I see Judd throw his headphones down, like slam them on the
Yeah.
ground. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. And then that's when
Yeah.
they called illegal shift.
Yeah.
And then when I got home, I saw the replay.
Hmm.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. See, I don't like as I said, I didn't watch the penalty, so I might have to go back and watch that just because I thought it was a holding play and he just completely, you know, messed. I kind of wish that the Cowboys just kept Cameron Fleming. He just has nothing right now. He's being a big problem. Like Andrew Thomas has been taking the more like fine tuned players and like Khalil Mack. He didn't play Nick Bosa or anyone. He played um Aaron Donald's. He was switching in interior and exterior, but you know he's been playing those big guys. But Cameron Fleming has been struggling against like the weaker side, you know, the right side, not the blind side. And
Right,
it's just,
right.
yeah. And again, Nate Solder held out. So that was, we don't, I mean, Nate Solder, that was one of the worst signings we've made in a long time. We paid him way too much money to be performing like that. And, you know, if he maybe move over to right tackle, I don't know what would have happened, to be honest. But because left tackle and right tackle are two completely different things, you know. It might seem like the same thing because they both are tackles, but like left side
Yeah,
is
no, yeah.
way harder.
Yeah, it's different. It's complete. It's different. Yeah.
If you don't have a left tackle, then your O line's not gonna be doing great. We saw that in Eric Flowers.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Every,
Eric
every
Flowers.
every time I hear that name, I just like roll my eyes because I think of all the penalties he's
Oh
caused
yeah,
us. You know.
penalties, being a team cancer. Like you remember that whenever he like got in a fight in the middle of a game for
Yeah.
for his fault, it was his fault. Like
Yeah.
yeah, and then I just think about like all the draft laws. We've had pretty bad drafting. Like Eric Flowers, Eli Apple, and then this year, DeAndre Baker.
Well, no, we didn't. We had Baker last year,
Yeah.
but
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Well,
to Gettleman's defense on that, you can't predict an idiot
yeah.
to be an idiot. You know,
Yeah.
I was on another podcast a couple days ago when we were talking about this, and I understand the point of view of, the argument was Gettleman had to have known
Yeah.
that Baker was capable of this, and you know what,
Mhm.
I can't disagree with that, because we could only assume that the scouts in the NFL
Mhm.
vet these players that are from questionable backgrounds,
Mhm.
and there has to come a time where the GM or the owner will say, "Hey, I'm going to take a chance on this person."
Mhm.
But I will tell you this: the draft picks that you mentioned, the Eli Apple, we can't forget about Prince Nakamura,
Yeah. I mean, he
and of
was
course
good
Eric
though.
Flowers.
Prince
Well,
Nakamura was good though.
he was. Yeah, I mean,
Like he wasn't like like he wasn't a
I
weakness to the team.
no, I wouldn't, but I wouldn't call him a shutdown corner though. He
Yeah.
was not a
No.
shutdown corner. But
No.
what I want to say is those draft picks were made by Reese, not by
Mhm.
Gettleman, not
Oh
by
yeah.
Gettleman. But
Gettleman actually had the better selections, but he had
yeah,
more of like this guy right here, shipped him away. Um, but that was his problem, getting rid of too many players. He got rid of Olivier Vernon as well, and we brought in Jabril Peppers. First thing Jabril Peppers did was, I remember this like Jabril Peppers. The first headline was not even about him getting traded. It was about him having like problems with what was it like? He had arm like firearm problems and stuff like that. So it was just the moves he made were questionable.
I, you
And
know, I will say this for this year's draft. Um, I give Gettleman props for this year's draft
yeah.
because he addressed our offensive line needs, which we needed
Mhm.
help, and then he also addressed the defensive need and picking up
Mhm.
McKinney and the linebacker from Penn State.
Yeah.
So I got to give him props for that
I'm
because
ready to see.
to pick
I'm,
up McKinney, I mean McKinney is a
oh
big.
yeah.
We haven't
Oh
seen him
yeah.
yet. We just haven't seen him play
Yeah.
yet, but
Yeah. I'm ready for him to come back because he was an outstanding player in Alabama. I don't even know how he fell
yes,
to the second round somehow. Like we were lucky that he
yeah,
fell down.
exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. I mean, he had to have had some kind of knowledge that McKinney was going to be
Mhm.
available.
Yeah. Be-
Um,
because we got
yeah,
rid of we got like we passed up on Isaiah Simmons, and at first I was like maybe because that O line was like the O line class this year was stacked. Like we could have got Josh Jones and get Isaiah Simmons. That was the plan I was looking at first. But then I see Xavier McKinney. I'm like, that's not a big drop off. Only thing is Isaiah Simmons is taller, but Xavier McKinney does play. He plays like Tyrann Mathieu. Plays
yeah.
exactly like Tyrann Mathieu. And I was like, there's not that big of a drop off. And then him, Jabril Peppers, Julian Love is playing amazing this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He is. He is.
Yeah. So.
McKinney flies all over the field. I mean,
Mhm.
he's just that because he, if I'm not mistaken, he plays like corner, safety.
Yeah.
I mean, free safety. Excuse me.
At
I
first,
just
I was
can't.
looking at it. I was like, we have too many safeties, but like all those guys can actually play corner. Like Jabril, he's versatile. He can play corner. He can play linebacker. I think that was his biggest. He even played receiver coming into the draft. I remember that.
Yep.
Julian Love, he played cornerback, moved to free safety. Um, Xavier McKinney, same thing. He can play linebacker, corner. He can do all that. And I don't think we have Antoine Bethea anymore, but I think whenever we did, he was also there. But yeah, but that's a young and talented free safety core or safety
Mm-hmm.
core. Sorry,
Yep.
that we have.
And
So
and Graham as a coordinator, I mean, I love his style.
oh yeah,
When he was given a press conference, and I'm going to summarize. I'm not going to speak exactly what he said, but when the question was asked, "Are you going to play a 4-3 or a 3-4 defense?" His answer was yes. That's perfect. That's what you
yeah,
want to hear. The defensive coordinator we had last year, who for me will remain nameless. I mean, I'm not even gonna say his name. His scheme was just off. It was just off because they demand the corners to hold the receivers long enough, to force mistakes by the quarterback. And sometimes
oh yeah,
you can't play that type of football, and it's just not going to work.
yeah. Like I was like last year, I was just wondering why we got rid of what was his name? I forgot his name. He's on
Collins.
what? No, no, no. Our defensive Mike. What was his name? Like our defensive coordinator a couple like years ago.
Oh, Spags.
Yes, Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, why did we get rid of him? Because isn't he? He's on like a playoff caliber team right now, right? Oh, which team is he on? I think he's on the Kansas City Chiefs or something.
He's
right?
on the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, he's winning a Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, the man just got a second Super Bowl ring. Yeah. And he's on that same team right now as we speak, working on his third.
Yeah.
He wasn't as successful when he was a head coach with the Rams. I think he was there 2, maybe 3 years. Then he came back as a coordinator. Then he came back as a coordinator for the Giants, and was I think because he was there when McAdoo took over for Coughlin, and Spags was the interim coach for, I think it was like 3 games for the last games of the season, and I guess it's just one of those things. It just didn't work out, and it's kind of funny too because Parcells coached the Giants, and Belichick was the coordinator. Then Parcells left.
Yeah.
And, in theory, Belichick would have been the perfect fit as the Giants head coach.
Yeah.
That didn't work, however that played out. And then this is the same way, Coughlin,
just imagine that, like Belichick as the Giants head coach. Oh, that would have
been awesome. I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah. And to be honest, Belichick, I think we were talking about this in the last one. He was in the last podcast with OJ, and we were saying like Belichick is probably the best coach as developing players that are like unknown players. Like he will get the most out of every single player. And what I love about Belichick is when a player is done, he like never accept a trade from Belichick. That's like the one rule. Like, Belichick, he doesn't just trade players away. If he's trading you someone, he's trading you because he knows that he's like not going to produce anymore. He did that with Deion Branch.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah. And he also did that with, oh my God, who was that slot receiver?
Danny Amendola?
No. The short guy that took
Wes Welker? Wes
Welker, yeah. Yes, Wes Welker. Once there was, if you watch a documentary, I think it's that Football Life or something on NFL Network.
Yeah.
You'll see something where Belichick challenged, because Belichick's always challenging his players. I mean, you could be eating lunch next to him and he asks you a question, and if you answer it wrong, you're going to the Browns. He's going to trade you off somewhere. There's a thing where I guess Edelman made a play on kickoff return, and Belichick turned to Welker, just to kind of poke at him a little bit, and said something like, "Yeah, you're gonna do better next time." And then Welker was like, "No, he can have it. He could take it." And it was like, "Oh, you mean you're not going to compete? You're done?" And it was like, yeah, you can take it. He can take the kickoff. And I think that at that point, in my opinion, the way Belichick is, that was the start of the end of Welker's tenure as a Patriot.
Yeah, luckily for Welker, it worked out because he went to another great team, which was the Broncos. He got played with another great quarterback, in his favor, like Deion Branch, he completely fell off. And then it was funny because Deion Branch, after that, he came back to the Patriots.
He did, yep.
So, yeah.
I actually saw Deion Branch when I was in Seattle. He's short. I didn't realize how short he was.
Really?
I didn't realize how short. And that's not to knock on him. I mean, God, the guy has, Super Bowl MVP, but I was like, oh wow, that's Branch. It's weird when you see these players in real life. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I thought he was like 6'1" or something. And it's funny because I'm 6'1", right? Like I'm a tall guy, and I just like look like I'm playing Madden and something. I see like 5'9". I'm like, yeah, imagine like if I just stood next to this guy. I was like,
right? I know.
Yeah, I know.
He'll be looking up to you.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Yeah, and you remember like a couple years ago, Trendon Holiday, he was 5'5", and that guy could run.
Yeah.
That guy was like unstoppable on like kickoff for some time, like with the Broncos. Like, and then the Pat McAfee, after that, like the Pat McAfee hit, that's where his career started going down. That was a big hit from Pat McAfee.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then he came to the Giants for some time, but we never used him. It was like I saw him there. I was like, we just never used him. Yeah, but you know what? I think we had Dwayne Harris. Dwayne Harris, he's one of my him coming from the Cowboys to the Giants and then having that kick return against the Cowboys team. That was one of the best moments in recent memory for me.
Yeah, that was my wife's favorite football player, Harris.
Yeah.
She actually wanted his jersey, and we were actually going to get it one year, but then that was the year he went to the Raiders.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, he still made plays. He still made plays.
He did.
He had that one smart play. Like I didn't like figure out why he did it at first, but the ball was like touched by Bronco, and at the point I was like, why are you picking the ball up? Because I was like, and he returned it for a touchdown. But then I figured out like later, if you touch the ball, on the kick team, the ball is not like it can't. If you fumble as a return man, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And he knew that right as he touched it. So that guy was smart. And he wasn't the fastest of players. He was like, he was not like blazing speed. He was smart.
And he can make plays.
Yeah.
And he can make plays.
Yeah. So let's like do a little bit about week 6 predictions here. So going into week 6, what do you see? First of all, what do you see the score being? Just straight up, like, what do you see the score being?
I mean, I can see the score being 24-10. Mm-hmm. Something kind of, a moderate score. I think our defense is playing its best football right now.
Yeah.
And I believe Jones, you got to have faith in Jones that he's not going to create fumbles like he did the last game. So, I mean, yeah, I'll say 24-10.
Mm-hmm. I have it like a little bit lower because it's going to be a defensive game. Like, I don't see the offenses playing as good as as the Dallas game. As Redskins' main vocal point is the defense. Same with the Giants, kind of. So I see it being closer like to 10-17. That's who I see the score. I don't see it being a high score game. Just because both, and of course, Giants 17, Redskins 10. I just don't see us generating as much offense versus the Redskins as the Cowboys, and I don't see the same thing with the Redskins.
Right.
I think it's gonna be similar to that Pittsburgh Giants game.
I for some reason I just have a feeling that the defense is going to score another touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I think that other touchdown's coming from.
Okay.
So
I can see that now.
Yeah, I can see Jones, throwing a TD pass. Freeman finally getting his first touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, no, because he scored.
No, he scored. Yeah, he scored
last week.
Yeah.
Get his second touchdown. Well, actually, he'll get his first touchdown at MetLife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And talking about that, I love the fact that we finally saw the offense gain a voice in the run game. We
Yeah,
finally saw it.
yeah,
We finally saw Danny Dimes was not carrying that rushing attack. Devontae
yeah.
Freeman, the holes were there. We finally saw it. And again, it all goes back to the fact that we played like top five D lines in the NFL. Like we played Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, all those guys. We played TJ Watt and all those other players, against Pittsburgh. But again, no excuses. We didn't get anything when Saquon Barkley was here, but finally our O line's getting there, and I love that. And I think this week we're playing a younger team, and it's also a very good D line. They have Ryan Kerrigan, Chase Young, De'Aaron Payne, you know, all those guys. I don't think Matthew Nice is there right now, but that's still a very talented our D line, and we just have to see how we can play this week.
Oh, and we also got to bring up who was it Carter?
Oh, Chicago.
That
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, it's Carter that has the Achilles, right?
Yeah, Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, Lorenzo Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a setback. I don't want to say setback, but definitely a loss for us. And I wish him nothing but a speedy recovery. You need to get back on the field as soon as possible.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm hoping he gets back. That guy can run. He can run. Luckily we're gonna be seeing more of Cam Brown, Tay Davis, all those guys that we were seeing in practice, stuff like that. So it'll give more opportunities to those guys, but I'm really hoping that he comes back and sets the tone off the edge, because that's a big loss. That's a huge loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't think we have there's no one really who had that much of speed. Like off the edge, that guy, if you if you left him like free, he was gone. Like if you just if there was no blocker there, that's right off the edge. So okay, so this is probably the biggest thing surrounding the Giants right now, and that's tanking for T-Law. Do you think that that's even a move though?
I don't. I don't think so. And I'll say this because I try and have the mindset of the players. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for me to believe that the players that are on the team now will accept just, look, just get a paycheck. Don't even worry about contributing, because we're worried about next year. Mm-hmm. And now, again, my main focus is on tomorrow. And when April comes, and however we are in the draft, when April comes, we'll make, I'm sure that they'll pick the best player that's available to us in the first round. Mm-hmm. If that's Trevor, then that's Trevor. If that's, I think they're talking about Fields, that quarterback from Ohio State, then it's Fields. If it's a defensive player, then it's a defensive player. Whoever it is. But I don't think tanking for Trevor will be the answer. I just think players have too much pride. And you got to think about it. This is a competition. Mm-hmm. This is a weekly competition. And, these players at the end of the season, they meet up with each other. Mm-hmm. And to the fact that if let's say you and I are on a opposing team, and your team beat my team, and you ran me over, you got bragging rights.
Yeah.
You got bragging rights on me until I run you over, until our team beats you. So I think I just don't think it's what do you think? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I was just say I saw your video earlier, and you said it had a comment where it said T-Law or Fields, and you said Danny Dimes. That's the way I am right now. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I don't even think that we should even if we do, let's just say something goes off and this is just not the year. we get a early draft pick. I don't even think we should be taking a quarterback because the problems that we've had is not even Daniel Jones' fault.
Right.
If you like,
Right.
it's not his fault that he's not getting any time in the pocket. Um, there was Fanalize. Uh he made a post saying like what we've learned about the season. Said Danny Dimes is a bust. He's only played. This was his 17th game.
I saw the one you did. I saw the
Yeah.
one that you did on that. Yeah, and I actually that was the you gave me that inspiration on the one I did
Oh yeah.
as well.
Yeah. I took mine down because I want to redo it just because it was. I lost this. At the first I just lost what I was saying. I just kept on saying cap. I just forgot what I was talking about, and it was like late at night, so I just posted it because I was like, "There's no way I'm doing this again." Yeah, so I'm going to redo that.
I think, in my view, I think what we should do as a football team, we need to have that number one receiver.
Hmm.
We need to have that deep threat. We
Hmm.
need to have that receiver, like I said in one of my videos, a Beckham-like
Yeah,
receiver, not Beckham. I don't want to
yeah,
I don't want to come across talking about we should get Beckham back. No, but we do need
yeah.
that big time receiver
One
because
of somebody like these two players, right?
right. Because I like Shep. He's just not staying healthy, and he
Right
does.
now, Slayton's that man though. I mean, Slayton, he's doing his thing, but like,
Slayton's, yeah. I think Slayton's a good number one right
yeah,
now. But ultimately, I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, he could be there. I wouldn't put Slayton in the slot. I'd put him at the other
no,
wideout.
he would be a
Um,
wide
he'd
receiver
be,
too.
yeah, he'd be a good wide receiver. And I know that we re-signed Shep, because after we
Hmm.
traded Beckham. But God, he's just not staying healthy.
Yeah, and as I said, the if you look at the five players, right, we got Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, or CJ Board, and Damian Ratley.
Hmm.
Slayton can do his job. Tate is playing like a veteran. Like he is a veteran, right? And he's playing like just get get the catch and just go down. If you like watch his catches, he goes down before he gets tackled.
Right,
And
right.
it it's just get as many yards as you can and then, go down. And it's not it's textbook. It's not the flashiest, it's textbook, but that's not gonna get it done. You know, Shepard, as you said, he's getting hurt too much. And then we got CJ Board and Damian Ratley. I didn't know who these guys were until I started playing my Madden.
Right,
Like,
right.
and like I didn't like,
I
that's
think I like Board. I like him. I like him. I wish we could see a little more. He reminds me of Lattimore a little bit.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
who he reminds me of. And it's one of these. I mean, we're not at the practice, so we don't see what the Giants see. But I'm all about putting, that product on the field and see what they can do. See how they can
Mhm.
perform on the field, between the white lines, because you never know.
Yeah.
They might be a diamond in the rough. Because I mean,
Mhm.
that's how Cruz, got his start
Yeah.
when he scored those 3 touchdowns, you
Mhm.
in that preseason game against the
Yeah.
Jets.
Yeah. That was.
Of course, he ended up getting hurt, but the following year,
Mhm.
he was making
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah. Like Cody Latimer, like he was like a role player, like he went in there and you can rely on him, like, to
Yeah.
make
Yep.
a play and like get if you need a first down, he'll get the first down and maybe 5 extra yards,
Hmm.
just run his route, perfect, right? And then so hopefully, but none of those guys are like ones. Sterling and Shep, or no, sorry, Sterling and Tate are both slots. Those are like I don't see Sterling Shepard playing a two or something. Sterling Shepard to me, he's more of a Hines Ward, and he does more of what you don't see. We seen his blocking like after the play. He's one of those players like you don't. He's in the slot, he's running those routes, but he's not making those flashiest of plays. And so I don't see him as a one. Tate, as I said, is getting on the back end of his career and just catch and go down. So he's not a one. Slayton's the only one there making plays, but we can improve. And I think with this year, Jamar Chase is probably our best option if we do get a high draft pick.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's probably right now the only player I see who can do that. Jamar Chase. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, at this point, I'll be honest, I haven't caught too much college games, but
Hmm.
I will look him up. I mean, I've actually seen a couple of his highlights.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do need that number one receiver.
Hmm. Yeah.
I know people off, backstage. I was talking with people on my podcast, Truce,
Hmm. Yeah.
and we were talking about CD Lamb dropping to 17 in the
Yeah.
draft, and I believe Gettleman did what he needed to do in this draft because his intentions was right by protecting Jones and Saquon.
Hmm.
Granted, Saquon got hurt. You can't have unforeseen that, but I'm glad we drafted the way we did, and we
Hmm.
addressed the need on the line. And again, like we were talking before, this year we're definitely going to need that number one receiver.
Yeah. And we saw like Odell, we got him, but we didn't have the supporting cast. And he was just a flashy player. Like we had one year that we made it to the playoffs. That game was just one to forget though. That was that whole game. It
Oh,
was
he had 3 drop balls. He
yeah,
had 3 drop
yeah. It wasn't even just
balls.
him. It was the whole team. It did not look like it looked like the Cleveland Browns from 2017. It did not look like Bobby Rainey. That kickoff, just let the ball go out of bounds and get at the 40. Don't catch it and go at the 3.
Right, right.
That's
All I remember mostly from that game is the Hail Mary,
oh yeah. Yeah.
because that was almost, because I don't know if you caught this game, but in 2011 we played them when the
Oh yeah.
Packers were
Yep.
15-1,
Hmm.
and Eli,
Same
threw that
exact place.
same
Yeah.
same exact spot, and that was their way of getting back at us.
Yeah. That's all that game
Um,
was, revenge. And
so I remember the Hail Mary, and I'm sorry, I'm lying. I keep lying to you. I'm sorry. So it's the Hail Mary, the freaking boat picture that I wish
oh,
never happened,
oh yeah.
and
That's
then Beckham having 3 drop passes. One of
mhm,
them was a touchdown. I mean,
mhm.
one of them was a touchdown.
Yeah. Was the cocaine also during that
Was
time?
who?
The Odell and having like a picture of like people say like, oh, he had cocaine or something like that.
No, I don't. Oh, you mean when that girl took that video?
Yeah.
I thought it was him smoking weed.
No, no, it was so they had a box of pizza and that girl takes a photo and like by them it was like a credit card and a bag of white powder.
Oh, yeah. I actually forgot about that. I actually
Yeah, I
forgot about
think that
that.
was I think that was around I think that was one, but
It
then
had to have been after that, though.
yeah. But I think the on the boat, it was the boat pick, and he also had some weed or he had some drug problems there as well. They were like drug test him after he gets back from the boat. Odell's
Oh,
always he's had some problems with the media, like, I don't know if it's just because he has emotion. Like his emotions are like, we saw that like the net and stuff like that. You remember that? Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
net and he just
Did
takes his emotion out and
did
good and bad ways.
did you hear about what his he was dating some my dog wants to come and say hi. I guess he was dating a stripper or something.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's a stripper or escort. I don't know. I actually thought it was someone he was dating. But you didn't hear about that?
Which one? Oh,
Where she made a claim how he wanted her to poop on
oh,
him.
oh, oh, yeah. No, no, that was oh no, that was somebody else's girlfriend actually right now. That's some other athlete's girlfriend right now.
So were they dating, or was that
I don't even know. I
I don't
don't I
know.
don't believe it. I don't believe that. Like because it you know what, if the way he went about it was just like, he went about it like he was joking around. He actually made some jokes about it, I think, on his Instagram post.
And that's, I'm glad you said that, because I don't, to be honest, I could care less.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
that's what people do in their
Yeah.
private time, I could care less.
Mhm.
As well, now he's with the Browns, but as long as when he was with the Giants, as long as you catch first downs and
Yeah.
touchdowns, that's all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and to be honest, like, that's where the media kind of like that's where it kind of takes a point where you gotta realize where it's at, because like that's getting into somebody else's personal life, first of all,
Right, and you got to
and
know the source too. Like what
yeah,
was in it? What was in it for her?
I know.
Not allegedly. Well, I should have actually started that conversation with allegedly,
Yeah,
not like it's actual fact. Allegedly,
yeah. Now,
but
I don't think that ever happened, because there, like, it was like out. First of all, it's not like she went onto something happened, and she was like, he told me to do this, right? And it's not like Odell is part of it. It was just a podcast. It's like this right now, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
she just went out there and was like, out of nowhere, was like, Odell wanted me, and I
Well,
was like,
like I said, I could care less.
yeah, again, yeah.
I could care less.
Yeah, and I feel like Odell's just been in the spotlight for some time, actually, since the Giants. Really. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So a couple more things. Do you see Danny Dimes passing Eli, or at least reaching that caliber at any point in his career?
Oh God. I will say this. I hope so.
Hmm.
But in the same breath, I just want to get past tomorrow. I
Yeah.
just want to. I just want to see him play. And to your question, I mean, I get that question a lot. If I had to choose between Eli Manning and Daniel Jones, I'm going to say Phil Simms. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
But to be honest, of course, as a fan, I would love to see him do better than Eli.
Hmm.
Not to take
Yeah.
anything away from Eli,
Hmm.
but I would love him to win, one more Super Bowl, or, throw one more touchdown pass, because one
Hmm.
more touchdown pass than Eli, which would make him, the seventh all time, TD thrower in NFL
Yeah.
history. I mean, of course you would want to wish that on him.
Yeah.
But it's up to him to make it happen.
Yeah. Um.
So,
Yeah. It's funny because I remember whenever he got drafted. I don't know if you saw the picture, but like it was like him and Eli put next to get together, and they both looked the same. It was like
yeah,
it's
yep.
funny. And you know what? Daniel Jones right now hasn't we haven't seen the biggest boost, but we haven't seen much that we lost from losing Eli. And I love the fact that we went out and got Daniel Jones,
Yeah,
because when like some teams they wait until the Broncos, they waited until Peyton Manning retired and then
right.
went out and try. They didn't even try to get like a court. I think they had what's his
Well,
name? That
no, they
Paul
had
Paxton
that.
Lynch.
Yeah, not.
Oh, oh,
They had that backup from Arizona State. I want to say.
yeah. Wait, hold on. What's his name? Oh, Scott. Simeon, Trevor Simeon.
No, it wasn't even Simeon. It was before him, because he signed that big deal.
Yeah.
He went to the Texans. He
Oh,
left
yeah.
the Broncos
Oh, Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler.
who?
Brock Osweiler, right?
Oh, yeah, Brock Osweild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big man. He was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, they actually wanted him to be the heir apparent
Yeah.
of Peyton, but he didn't want it. He went to Texans. That didn't
And
work out.
that didn't work out. Like
And I think he went back to them for a year, and then after that, I don't think he's been seen
I think he
since.
moved around. I think he went to like Cleveland for some time. He moved around.
He did go to Cleveland,
And
yeah.
then they had Paxton Lynch try to come in, and that was a bust for them. He's not
Yeah,
even on a team anymore. They had Trevor Simeon.
he is out of the
They just
NFL.
they try to piece together something, and that now this year they finally got someone who think can push them in the right direction. That's Drew Lock. He's not like right now. He got hurt again, so that's not looking too great. But we was actually I wanted the Giants to take Drew Lock whenever I was looking in the draft pick, right? Um, were you surprised whenever the Giants took Danny Dimes?
I was. I was. For the past few drafts, I've been wanting them to get a pass rusher.
Yeah.
And I was hoping for them to get a pass rusher when they got Daniel Dimes. But I want to say before the draft, somehow, and I'm not saying that the Giants was going to pick him, but somehow his name came across.
Yeah.
And so and this is before the Giants had the pick. So I started doing some quick research on him before the draft. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if they would have taken him. And, with Gettleman being, Gettleman, the GM of a team that needs to think, about the future of the Giants, I wasn't surprised that he picked up Gettleman, Jones.
Yeah.
Wasn't surprised at all.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were. And I will say this, I think it was, and I'll go on a limb on this, I think it was almost a little unfair to Eli, although Eli, he had his struggles, but I think it was a little unfair to Eli on how he went out the way he did.
Yeah.
I'm glad he beat Miami. I'm glad he got his last win. But I think that might have added some unnecessary pressure for him.
Yeah.
And in his last year.
I feel like they should have done what Kansas City did and just not having play it. Like, I think they should just let him play maybe the last few games. I don't think they should have put Daniel Jones right in. I mean, yeah, he won the 2 games, but that season we weren't projected to go 13 or 13. That was still a team that was in the rebuilding process.
Right.
And he actually set a very good tone for himself, of course, winning the Tampa Bay game and then the Redskins game, which was huge as he took over Dwayne Haskins, people were, and that was a big deal. So, but I still feel like Eli should have played not maybe the whole season, but through the week 16 or something like that.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to be I'm going to say this. I think he should have played the whole season because it would have been his last season, and maybe put Jones in. Okay, maybe not the whole season. Let me back up. Maybe the 13 games, and then, and then put him in for the last 3, but I mean, it actually played out beautifully. Eli does not have a losing record.
Yeah.
Nor a winning record.
Yeah.
But at least we could say that. He's not he doesn't have a losing record as a starting quarterback. And technically, I don't know how it got this started happening with quarterbacks having a record, because I mean there's 21 other players when you count the defense and the offense.
And special teams as well.
And special teams, yeah. So I don't think it's
30,
I don't think it's 30, 32?
33, I think. 30.
Well, 33 if you count the quarterback. Yeah,
Yeah.
33. Yeah. But I think it's a team sport, and the coaches should have the win-loss record.
Yeah.
But you know how we are, we can even say we're part of the media. We want to have a stat for everything.
Yeah.
And although I do believe that, I don't believe quarterbacks. Because then what are we going to do about middle linebackers? Should they have the win-loss records of the team as well? But, who am I? I'm just a diehard Giants fan,
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, Daniel Jones, what I like about him is that he brought a new dimension to the Giants, and we didn't lose anything. He brought a new dimension in the run game. That was huge, because whenever you have a good O-line, they'll adjust with a running quarterback. But whenever you have a bad O-line that can't even hold up a pocket passing, then you have some problems there. Lamar Jackson, that's one of the best O-lines, because they're able to keep up with him running around, right? Mm-hmm. But Daniel Jones, his pocket's collapsing, and he's able to get out and run. It's kind of vice versa for them.
Did you hear about Lamar Jackson? What he gifted his O-line when he won the MVP?
Oh, did he? Oh, did he give some cars or something? Or what did they?
No, he bought them all Rolexes.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
He got all of them Rolexes, and I thought that was awesome. I thought, it showed the Rolex, and it had a purple face on it. So it was like
Yeah,
perfect, you know, it
yeah,
was perfect.
yeah. That O line, like I think I made a video today, and it was the AFC North, and I had Ravens in there because I would have put Pittsburgh in there because they have Alejandro Villanueva, um, who else? David DeCastro, all those people, you know. But they're they aren't they the Ravens O line is keeping up with a run first quarterback who's literally running from end to end, like
Right.
horizontally, you know, and it's hard to keep up. I was gonna say Seattle, but Seattle's O line is forcing Russell Wilson to run around. Yeah. So Daniel Jones, that was huge. I think Dwayne Haskins was the guy that we had going into that draft. We had Dwayne Haskins. Um, to me, it was Drew Lock, Dwayne Haskins, then Jones. That's how I had it. How I had my predictions, right? I thought that it was gonna be a surprise pick, not for Daniel Jones, but for Drew Lock.
Okay.
Yeah, but as you said, like I heard that headline like what was it like a couple days before the draft that Daniel Jones had a good relationship with Dave Gettleman and all the Giants reporters, stuff like that, and the combine stuff like that, right? And then the first thing that stood out to me was the Duke record, you know. And then it was like everybody making jokes. It was like the Duke record, the what was it? Like they had like losing to Oregon pretty bad, and then all those stuff, you know. Um, it was he got a whole bunch of hate. But you know what? I like Daniel Jones because he didn't respond, he didn't do
Right.
anything. He
Right.
just played. And that's
And
what I
and
like about Daniel Jones.
and that's the thing about, and that's what I realized is that, Duke they didn't have. I mean, yeah, it's a D1 school, but he didn't have receivers that was recruited by Florida and
Hmm.
Alabama and Clemson. And he made that team competitive.
Hmm.
And people forget it took Eli 3 years
Yeah.
to get us to a Super Bowl.
Hmm.
And so I'm patient, even though I know the NFL is a what have you done for me lately type of league. There are going to be some times that you just got to let the players marinate
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and grow together. And
Yeah.
again, that's offensive line. We got to let that offensive line grow and be a cohesive unit.
Hmm.
It didn't help that Nate, like we talked about, Nate opted out this year for personal reasons. We can't fault him for
Yeah.
that. But I mean, that was one key element. Now, next year, let's
Yeah.
say he comes back next year. They may need to do another reorging of the offensive line, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll go through some growing pains, but hopefully, we'll have that experience to
Yeah.
where they could put a solid product on the field, and
Hmm.
we could start off being 1-0, which we haven't
Yeah.
been in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, like the O line, Will Hernandez, Andrew Thomas right now are or Kevin Zeitler as well. And it's where the whole O line is right now. Um, I just said his name. Andrew Thomas, Will Hernandez, Nick Gates, Kevin Zeitler, and um, Cameron Fleming, who's probably going to lose his job either this year or next year, just by the way it's panning out. And if he does, I'm thinking that Matt Parrott might take his job. The way it's looking, you know, Matt Parrott has been doing great in the practices and stuff, right? So and so that means that three of those guys are people who have only played one or two seasons or in their rookie season or have played one season. Will Hernandez, you
Right.
know, Kevin Zeitler is the only veteran that we have on that O line. You know, Nick Gates played. He has not played that much either. He had one game against the Jets where he had to step in for an injured O line. Like Nate Solder was out. Mike Remmers was actually the right tackle. He had to step in for, and that was the game that we saw that he was actually doing good. So you know what? Lately, like a couple years ago, Daniel Jones, these growing pains would not have been seen as a problem, you know, because it was normalized, you know. It was like, yeah, you know what, just get into the groove of things, it was like, 5 years if you're not doing anything, then you're done, you know.
Right. Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, and now it's like problem is we're seeing like a lot of these flashy players like Kyler Murray just had a big few games. Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, all of these guys, we see them like burst onto the scene, you know. And this year, my prediction, Justin Herbert as the best quarterback in the draft, also having a very great impact right out the bat, right? So whenever we see all these players do this, we then forget about how important, like, grooming the quarterback into the system is, getting them used to these players' adjustments, new
Mhm.
players coming in, as I said, he just completed playing a whole season a couple weeks ago. Like we're not looking at that much of like we're looking at sample size right now. We haven't seen much from Daniel Jones. And from what we have seen, if you look at the problems, it's all fixable. Like his biggest problem is fumbling. And
Right.
his
Right.
and whenever you look at his fumbles, it's because his arm is out and he's not securing the ball. That's not something that you're born with the talent to bring the ball in. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you're not like you can learn that. Like you bring the ball in, okay? You know. So
Well, and also to your point, and I'm sorry to cut you off. I mean, you had mentioned Jackson, Mahomes, and Herbert this year. The difference between those three and Jones is they came into a team with a solid offensive
yeah.
line. Jones didn't. Jones
Hmm.
did not. To be fair, I don't believe we had a solid. I mean, I'll be as bold to say maybe 2012. Since 2012,
Yeah.
we probably have yet to have a
That was like
solid line
yeah.
since then. That was the year
And
after we won the last Super Bowl.
yeah, that we had it's just crazy to see because if you look at the Giants historically, we've always had great O lines. Like
Right. Yep.
the
Yep.
2007, 2011, those O lines, it was like, David Deal, like Mike or what's it, Will Beatty, Sean O'Hara, all those players, right? All legends. And then now you look at the team and we got Mark Colombo though. We got Mark Colombo, who's gonna
Right.
be a big addition to that. And I love the fact that we got Mark Colombo and Jason Garrett because they both know what it's like to build an O-line. Mark Colombo was a first round pick, so he should know perfectly what it's like to, play O-line. And Jason Garrett, like we our draft picks are very rushed if you look at it because the way we drafted running back, quarterback, um, offensive line, right? Of course, we had the test with Eric Flowers, all that, but we built like the Cowboys. They built their O line and then you know came in. So we're gonna be hopefully we can implement some of that, and as you said, Pat Mahomes, they traded up to get him. He went to
Yep.
a team that was great. Um, Lamar was 30th overall. Justin Herbert he fell. I mean, he didn't fall, but he was on or he went to a team that just didn't have a great season,
Right. Right. I mean, that the team that's now blocking for Herbert was blocking for Rivers last year.
Yeah, that team wasn't bad. It was just that they didn't have a
Yeah.
great season. So all those teams are pretty good. And then Murray went to a pretty. I mean,
I think
I
it's
don't
fair.
even know.
I think it's fair to say his rookie year he was running for his life.
Yeah,
I mean, he was running all over the
yeah.
field. Murray was
I think
so.
DJ Humphries was their best player, and that's just I don't even know if he's doing anything anymore. But he was all over the place, and that's why we didn't see him do as good as he is doing right now. And he didn't have a number one or target. Like he had Christian Kirk, who was also trying to settle into his like he should be a slot, but I think they were playing him as a one then. And then they tried to do this gimmick stuff. If you remember the Giants game a couple years ago versus um the Cardinals, the reason we weren't able to stop that team was one, that game Chase Edmonds went off, but it
Yeah.
was all these gimmicks. It was Andy Isabella coming across the formation and then faking it to Edmonds and then taking it with Kyle. It was all over the place.
Well,
And
what I saw, like I said, the defensive scheme was
yeah,
just not helping us. That I mean,
yeah,
for a poor offensive line, they manhandled us last year
Mhm.
against the Cardinals. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just it was so sad last year.
Yeah. Last year, and that's yeah. Chandler Jones was going off that game. Yeah, he went. He had like a couple sacks, I think, that game. So
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
So let's get into one last topic, and this is the sad one. This is the one that's a heartbreaker, and this is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Whenever he comes back, Devontae Freeman. Okay, let's say this: if Devontae Freeman has a, let's just, I don't think he'll get 1,000 because of how many players we have at and the way we're running the offense. But let's just say he gets 1,000, right? And he looks like back what he used to play in Atlanta, right? How do you think Saquon gets affected by this?
Well, I really don't think he's going to be affected at all. This is Saquon's team.
Hmm.
That's our guy. And if I think if what would happen, we would keep Freeman and we would probably get rid of what is it? I think Lewis is on our team now.
Yeah.
From I
Yep.
think because I don't know what he was signed
Well,
to, but I
yeah,
could
for
see that
sure.
happening where he would be released and we would keep Freeman. I mean, and we would keep Gilman and
Oh,
what's up?
you see, okay. So I was looking at Deion Lewis's contract. Freeman's on a 1 year contract. Lewis is on a
Yes.
2 year.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
see
yeah,
I don't see Lewis being a 3 year.
yeah,
I'm sorry, we're doing the if the situation where Freeman got his 1,000 yards and Saquon's back, I think we would keep Freeman as an insurance
and
policy.
well, we also have Wayne Gallman who has also had injury problems, but that Tampa Bay Bucks game, like last year, he can like he was a second round draft pick as well, and
Right.
he's proved it. I mean, he's actually probably one. He could be a one on some other teams, probably if like you know,
Easy. Yeah.
yeah, like he had what he had like 138 yards versus Tampa Bay. That and he just had injury problems, same thing. And in my notes, I said we've seen this happen to like a lot of players where we just, of course, hoping the best, wishing the best for Saquon, but like, um, it's Tajana Carter from like way back in the day.
Right.
He
Right.
had knee problems. Like he had it back like his first preseason game, and that's what derailed his career. But like, how big of an impact will this injury make on Saquon now, and especially as we don't have the best of lines.
Right. I think for I would say comparing Kajana Carter to Saquon is a little I'll say unfair because case in point, Adrian Peterson. Adrian
Yeah.
Peterson, he same similar injury, and even Bridgewater, the quarterback for the Panthers now. Their knees were pretty much destroyed,
Hmm.
and they were surgically repaired. And look at them now; they're making
Yeah.
plays. Jesus Christ, what Adrian Peterson, the man got to be at least 100 and something
Yeah.
years old by now.
Yeah.
And he's still out there working it on the field, with Detroit. So I will not be surprised if Saquon comes back
Mhm.
and runs for 1,500 yards, if not 2,000 yards.
Mhm.
With his mindset and the way he prepares. I mean, I'm assuming you saw his workout videos
Oh, yeah.
that he has. So
Oh, yeah.
and Saquon has a great team around him. And I mean, and plus them damn thighs, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Like,
He's
he walks on tree
yeah.
trunks.
I think I don't think his injury is going to have an impact on him. I think he's going to be he's probably going to be 95% if not 100%. But then again,
Mhm.
his 95% is still better than 99% of the running backs in this league.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm confident he's going to come back and he's going to be hungrier than
Oh,
ever.
yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it's just I feel like what's gonna happen is what we're gonna see in Carolina as well with Mike Davis and CMC. They're not gonna be playing CMC 100% the first game or the first
Right,
maybe
right.
not even the first three or four games, right? Because Mike Davis, he is going off. Like he is doing his thing. Like, it's his spot right now if CMC wasn't on the Panthers. And I don't see them taking away like plays from him. I see
Right.
him probably be the starter than CMC coming in later on. So I think that's what's gonna happen more than likely with Saquon. It's just that if you do you think that he'll like we saw um AP, he had to adjust his game, to a more power back style. Teddy
Hmm.
Bridgewater, he can't run as much, he's in the pocket. They built his receiving core this year with Robbie Anderson and what's his name? DJ Moore, you know,
Hmm.
all those guys. And then in NBA to like the late great Kobe Bryant, he had to change his game completely to like shooting, you know, from driving into shooting. So do you think that that's gonna be something that's gonna happen to Saquon?
I think we're going to have to wait and find out. I mean, like I said, I think he's going to come back ready to go. I think he's going to, um, if not be the exact same person he was before, maybe less, I'll say maybe less than a half of a step. Um, I'm not saying, I mean, he'll still have the speed, and I do believe he'll have the power, because he was
Mhm,
running over people. Um, and we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of um, effects of it. I mean,
mhm.
oh, and another player we forgot, Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Brady was hurt, and then I
Yeah,
mean, the man came back and won 3 more Super Bowls.
yeah,
So, and he's still playing to this day. So,
yep,
I think anything is possible with the type of medication or surgeries or medical procedures that are taking place now, and even with Brady being hurt, because he actually he pulled his MCL. What was it? It was 2008. It was
yeah,
after that perfect season. I mean, until the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Um,
I wonder
you
who beat
know,
them.
I don't know, but it was one big giant loss. I do know that.
Yeah,
I do know that.
yeah,
Um, he came back and won 3 Super Bowls. So, and I know the medical procedure, had to have changed since '08 to now. So,
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back and we'll have no notice in change of habits or how he's run at all.
Mhm. And you know what I'm excited to see is with this injury, first of all, how will the current O-line react and how will they up the game? And then how will Dave Gettleman react and build a better O-line for Saquon? Because he's our franchise player right now. You
Well,
can't
right.
just
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
can't
Right.
just
Let's be honest. Right now, Gettleman. I mean, and I hate to say this, Gettleman is playing for his job right now.
yeah.
So the Giants have to do something. And like I said, if the owners, which they won't, and I don't expect them to, if they were to call me and ask my opinion on keeping Gettleman, I would say I like what he did with this draft last year.
Mhm.
I like what he did with the pickup of Bradbury and Logan. I think
Yep.
I don't want to be in a situation where we're one of those teams where we're flip flopping coaches and GMs,
Oh yeah.
every 3 years. We got to
Mhm.
have some kind of consistency, some kind of continuity and
Mhm.
stability. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
main thing. Um, to an organization. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's
hopefully, get him to stay there, and he'll put
yeah.
either keep the line that's there now and let that kind of mature, and like I like to say, marinate a little bit,
Mhm.
or he moves him around a little bit and see how and that's not even Gettleman's. I mean, that's not Gettleman's daily weight. That's the coaches to make those decisions
Mhm.
and put the best players on the field that could play.
Yeah.
So but Gettleman, hopefully he could give the coaching staff the players that they need.
Yeah.
The resources they need to be successful on the field.
Yeah. The team that that came to mind was this team right here. I have the jersey of LeBron Landry because but it's the Jets. They switched with like a whole bunch of coaches like in and out. Adam Gase now got fired. They gotta look for a replacement now again.
But Adam Gase got fired?
Yeah, he got fired. They fired him, right?
No.
They kept him?
Yeah. Hold on. Did that happen today?
I heard news that he got fired.
You're not thinking of the Texans, are you?
Hold up. You know what? No, never mind. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
I thought by the way he's playing, I thought they were gonna fire him.
Yeah, I know the Texans got rid of O'Brien.
Yeah.
When he traded D-Hop, the writing was on the wall. I mean,
to be honest though, they should he's not a bad coach. Okay. It was the GM. It's the fact that they made him the GM as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like it was maybe a little bit harsh firing him indefinitely, right? Or completely, right? And it was just how much of it was the GM and managing than coaching, And of course, we got into it about D-Hop being with the Cardinals, changing that whole franchise, really.
Right.
From
Yep.
the worst to first, really. I mean, that's a tough division, but still, they're competing. And
so what I understand to be true is that the reason why O'Brien wanted to trade and why he was okay with trading D-Hop to Arizona was because he felt Hopkins made their offense predictable. And he put a lot of stock in what's that receiver they got there now? Is it
Will Fuller?
Will Fuller, Brooks. Was it Brooks or Cooks?
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks, and then there's another one too. I want to say the tight end.
Darren Fells or Darren Fells or Drew Atkins, one of those guys.
I can't. But the problem is that he had too much invested in the receiver. Oh no, he played for the Cowboys.
Randall Cobb.
Cobb, yes. He felt confident that those three receivers will make up for the absence of Hop, and that wasn't the case.
You know what? They signed they signed Cobb before the trade, but I think he was actually looking for pieces after he traded Hopkins. I think they actually signed Brandon Cooks late, way after the.
Well, yeah, they had to make up for it. They had to make. Yeah. I mean, because he realized that Cobb and Fuller wasn't. I mean, that wasn't the plan. I mean, that couldn't have been the plan for them to move forward. I think that was a big mistake. I mean,
yeah, that was. But you know what? Like, if you really look into it, it's like, if you really it's a pretty bad trade, right? But there was some stuff that you can see why he did it. It's not as bad as some people made out. It was the worst trading ever. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It was terrible, but there was some reasoning behind it, I guess. If you really look into it, I think there was reasoning. It's a very risky thing to do because they had to take David Johnson, who's sort of a liability because you don't know if he's going to stay healthy the whole entire season. He's played
and actually he wasn't even productive the last two seasons.
Yeah, whenever he's see if he does get back to what he was the first few years in Arizona, he was the best running back at one point. But it's just after that injury, he just never got back to it.
And if I'm not mistaken, O'Brien made I want to say a trade for a lineman that was going to be on the Texans. And they paid too much for
Larry Tunsil.
Yeah, they gave up too much for him.
Yeah,
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Texans, I don't think they have a first round pick
they
in
don't.
this year's draft. So
Uh,
I mean, this is one of those years, because you rebuild your team on a draft, and every team is not like the Patriots. The
yeah.
Patriots, they don't like to draft, in the first two
hmm
rounds. I mean, they would rather trade those.
hmm
Um, but yeah, not every team can do what the Patriots do. I mean,
Yeah.
you can try and copy them as much as you can, but the fact that O'Brien, kind of, in my opinion, set this young team up for failure
Yeah.
because JJ Watt, even though he's still dominating, I mean, how many years does he have left? You know, um,
Yeah, he isn't that much. Like he's what 31, 32 now.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying that's old, and I'm in my 40s. But I mean, we'll see how it works out for them.
Yeah. You brought up the Patriots and Bill O'Brien's, is from the Bill Belichick tree. So
Right.
he may have, and I was watching something, it was like, you cannot implement the Patriots way anywhere except the
hmm
Patriots team. And that's what I'm hoping Joe Judge doesn't do here in the Giants because he's also from the Patriots tree. Just don't, because it's not going to work. It's like, we've seen it happen with Bill O'Brien. He was not able to implement it. Like whenever you try to implement it without Bill Belichick, it it won't work because you know it's the Patriots way for a reason.
Yeah,
And
I believe Joe Judd is going to be the best Joe Judd.
yeah,
Now he's not going to forget where he came from.
yeah,
I mean, not only was he with Bill Belichick, but I mean,
he was good.
and he has 3 Super Bowls, but he has 2
hmm
BCS championships with
Yeah,
Nick
Nick
Saban.
Saban. Yeah,
And I believe that to have that wealth of knowledge from those 2 Hall of Fame coaches in their respective leagues, I think it'd be a shame not to use that. Now, granted, you got to put your own spin to it. Don't be Belichick, don't be
yeah,
Saban, be Joe Judd. And I think that's what he's going to do.
yeah.
And
And
I think
from what I've heard, he's being hard on these guys. He is like he's not letting anything fly. Like he wants the best out of every
yeah,
single player. Like, yeah, that's what
yeah.
like if you heard the press conferences and everything, he's straight to the point. He reminds me like of a basketball like Greg Popovich. Like everybody's pulling their weight.
Right.
The
Yep.
superstars don't get any leeway.
hmm Yeah. I mean, and I believe he's going to I mean, his goal is to put a good product on the field and for them to compete
Yeah,
for 3 hours. And I think tomorrow we're going to put it together. I think tomorrow
yeah.
we're going to have a win.
And last week we saw the best Giants we've seen in like a long time. And Jason Garrett, I'm ready to watch Jason Garrett's play calling because he didn't care. Whatever he had his playbook, he called it. Like
Mhm. I,
he
and and
he was
I believe the last game, against the Cowboys, he called a really good game.
mhm,
Maybe against the Rams, there was some play calling that I was like, maybe I wouldn't have done that.
mhm,
But you're right. I mean, they threw out the flea flicker. They
mhm.
had Danny rolling out to the right, to the left.
He knew what their weaknesses. The Cowboys' weakness, they cannot keep up with moving pieces. If you
Right.
have like the Evan Ingram play, there was too many stuff going off for that, and that whole left side was wide open. And
Yep.
and he actually said Evan Ingram will be his best playmaker because he's so fast
Right. Right.
and he can play almost any position on the field. Like if you put him at running back, I wouldn't even be surprised. No,
I know that a lot of Giants fans are starting to lose faith in Edgar Ingram,
yeah,
but Evan Ingram. I just still have that feeling that he's going to have
yeah,
that breakout game. I mean, there's going to be this
hmm
one game, and with I'm sorry, let me back up. He's going to have this one game where he's just going to go off,
hmm
and I believe that with Garrett's system, you know, actually, I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen more of Ingram
oh yeah,
because I mean, Wheaton was getting the ball, every play, you know, when he was in Dallas.
Yeah.
So you could only hope that you know, Garrett would have the same type of offense and be feeding
Yeah.
Ingram the ball.
Yeah. I'm trying like I think Ingram would he only caught one pass like that counted, of course. He would have had the touchdown. And that would, I can't believe that like those two penalties. We would have won that game.
Yeah,
Like we had it. Like
and don't forget about that holding call too that did not get called
oh
on
yeah.
that
Oh yeah, at the end.
pass.
Yeah. That
Uh,
like that was obvious. That was like if you
more than
saw like
obvious.
Leonard Williams like pointed like get him. Like didn't
Yeah.
you see that? Like usually I don't see the holding calls, I don't like I don't watch it a lot. But you can see that like in your peripheral vision, like that's clearly a holding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like yeah, that game was it was one to remember, but like, there was some stuff that just didn't go out.
It was one to remember, but one that you sure as hell want to forget.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it was like a prelude of what's gonna come.
Oh, I hope you're right. Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like that's about all we got today. So again, thanks for coming on the podcast. Guys, if you liked it, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And that'll help me grow. But also go check out SneakyGMan for coming on this podcast. His TikTok page, his two podcasts that he hosts. And yeah, go check. Did you want to
Yeah.
sign us off and shout yourself out?
Yeah. Thank you so much again, man. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate that. I had a blast. This was fun. This was really fun. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you could, name is SneakyGMan on Instagram, Twitter. I do have a SneakyGMan YouTube channel and also the Truce podcast. That's 2RUCE. The name is 2RUCE and it's Truce. Myself, Sneaky G, Clario G, and the Cowboy Hippie. You can also hear us on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Please, I'm on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. Matter of fact, I'll just tell you right now, Google me, SneakyGMan. And I do also want to give a shout out to dresscomfy.com. They have SneakyGMan merch and also Clario G and Truce podcast merch as well. She's doing beautiful and great things. I would say go buy a shirt, but just check out her products and what she has. I mean, she does a lot of good work for us, and she's a hard worker as well.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah.
So if we're about to sign, I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you're on YouTube, I'm just gonna like link all that down in there, so you can go check out SneakyGMan merch because I checked out the shirts. I wasn't able to buy one, but I'm gonna look to buy one later. But like because it was actually pretty cool.
And I appreciate that. I know in this time of the pandemic, people aren't working as much, and everybody has different circumstances, but just the fact that you took a look at it, I thank you for that.
Yeah. If I do buy one, it's gonna go right up over here.
well, then that means you got to buy two because you can hang up one and then you got to wear the other one.
Yeah. Yeah. So this wall will be like full. These jerseys might like not even like stay here, but like yeah, we're gonna be filling this wall up.
I like it. It looks good, man. It looks real good.
Yeah. And if you want to sign us off with your signature giant sign off, you can go ahead and do that.
Oh man, I appreciate you. All right, real quick, everybody. Again, thank you so much for having me on your show. Stay blessed. Make everything count. And let's go Giants. Oh!
Perfect.